For the past year and a half, the Lenovo Yoga 9i Pro has been my daily driver, and it's quite the portable powerhouse. I originally had the version with the RTX 4050, but within a few months I upgraded to the RTX 4060 version. While the 2025 version has been announced, it appears it'll be much more expensive, so I think the 2024 version is still quite relevant as the changes are minimal and you can find quite good savings on it. Now, starting out with the star of the show, we have this 16-inch mini LED screen, which comes in at a nice 3.2K resolution, and it does get quite bright. I know the 2025 version has a tandem OLED or a regular OLED. This one I got with the touchscreen, but it will be a bit lighter if you don't get the touchscreen. But overall, it's a very color accurate screen, and I found it very good when editing videos and consuming content or gaming on it. The only downside of the screen, I think, is that it's pretty glossy, so it can be very reflective when you're working outside and trying to do tasks like that. Or sometimes even inside, if it's very bright or you have a light source behind you, you will get reflections on it. So leading into the accessories, one of the things you can do to get over that is get a matte screen protector. They make specific ones that are 16-inch, which I'll link below if you're interested in that. You will lose a tiny bit of vibrancy, but that will significantly cut back on the reflections. Then the other accessories I use are the Logitech MX Anywhere mouse. I think it's the third one. And that has been great. I carry it with me all the time, and I just Bluetooth it to the laptop, and it works fantastically. The trackpad is big and quite good, but it is a little bit off center, so that will take you a little bit of getting used to if you're not used to that because of the numpad placement. And then I also really like using this stand. So when I'm docked somewhere and I have the mouse in the stand, then it gives me a better viewing angle so that you don't get as much strain on your neck and you have a better posture in general. I use this Targus one and I find it great for this laptop. It supports it well and has many angles that you can put it at. To get into the chassis, you will need the right Torx driver, but you should note that the RAM is soldered on, so you cannot change the RAM, but you do have access to the NVMe SSD, the 2280, and you can also add an additional 2230 if you want to expand your storage. So I'd recommend getting the RAM that you need. Probably 32 gigabytes is the sweet spot for most people, and the 1 terabyte's nice, but you can upgrade that as well. One thing I've noticed about the sound is that with the function Q button, you can see I'm in the high power mode now, and then I can go into the automatic mode or the kind of middle cooling mode, but then there's also a lower power mode. And I've noticed that when you go into the lower power mode, if you're listening to something, it seems that it moves from the dedicated DAC to probably the internal audio on the motherboard. So I'll play a little sound test now. Just note that I'm not changing the volume. I'll put it at 75%. I believe there are 6 of them, and they are very punchy. A really good movie watching experience or gaming experience when you're on the go. Also compare it to the 14-inch from last year that I reviewed, and you can see the difference of how much better the sound is on this version. Now the ports are one thing that really sold me on this laptop. You have the proprietary power port here, then you have an HDMI, which is great when you're on the go, 2 USB-C, and then a 3.5 millimeter jack here. I do wish that they put one of the USB-C on the other side, and then you'll see on the other side we have 2 USB-A legacy ports here. So I wish they had one on each side so that when you're using different accessories, you have the versatility of doing that. But I think that actually remained in the 2025 version. And then you have a full-size SD card reader here, which is great because I film a lot of content. I use that consistently, and it's pretty good. For privacy, you do have a dedicated switch, and it'll turn red here when you turn the camera on or off. And that's a physical cutoff, so you have privacy. The keyboard's generally quite good. It has nice travel, 1.5 millimeters, and it does have the numpad. Everything is a little bit offset because of that numpad, but if you crunch a lot of numbers in Excel or just type a lot of digits often, that is very useful. That's one of the reasons that I really liked this laptop was the dedicated numpad here. And then the other shortcut, here you can do the function spacebar, and it will change the backlight brightness to 2 levels, or you can do the auto as well. And then function Q changes the vantage power mode like I was telling you about. But just note that when you change that into the low power mode, sometimes if you want to extend your battery, you still might want to do that in the Windows software, put it in battery saver mode to get better battery overall when you're in a crunch and you're like below 30% and you just want to really extend that battery. Or if you're doing very light tasks like browsing and you don't want to crush your battery, just put it into the low power mode in Vantage and battery saver in Windows. I wish they would merge those so that the low power mode on Vantage would already put it in battery saver, but that's something that the last generation didn't have either, and I don't think the new generation has. I'll do a little typing test now so you can hear the keyboard and what it sounds like compared to a MacBook. I find the feel and the travel a significant upgrade from the last version on the keyboard. Like I mentioned, I upgraded from the 14-inch to the 16, and this was the year prior. So I noticed a pretty big spec bump because this was a 4050, this is a 4060, and this was one generation later of the Intel CPU, which is a Core Ultra 185H. Performance is generally very good, and it crushes through most of the tasks that I needed to do. But you should note that you will want to be on power for that, and you will want to be using the dedicated 170 watt charger that has the proprietary port I showed you earlier that gives you that full power. And gaming's great on it. I play a lot of Halo and Rocket League, and I find that I can really tweak the settings a good amount to take advantage of the 165 hertz screen. In Rocket League, I can probably max it out because that's not as demanding of a game. But in Halo, I could probably get around 120 to 130 frames per second if I really tweak those settings with the 4060 GPU. I had the 4050 earlier, like I mentioned, and then I did end up changing to the 4060, and the benchmark improvement was significant. And I found that even trying to tweak stuff in MSI Afterburner, these 4060 GPUs don't respond as well to sending more power. They're kind of limited in that aspect, whereas the 30 series, like the 3060 and the 3070, I did a test on those in the Legion 5i, and I was really able to crank stuff and undervolt stuff and overclock stuff. But in this one, I haven't really messed around with that much. But the Vantage software does provide some of that you can do. And then I do always carry around a 65 watt GAN charger from Anker that I can plug into the USB-C port, and it will provide power. It'll top up slowly, but it does charge. I wanted to kind of max it out, so I actually tested the charger from the previous version, which is a 140 watt USB-C plug. So I tried that in here and read the power meter from the wall, and I think it was pulling about 110 watts. So that seems to be the maximum of what you can pull on the USB-C ports here. But that is a significant amount of power, and for most tasks, you will be good on that. But obviously, if you're gaming, video editing, or doing something very intensive, you will want the full 170 watt proprietary charger. And now we'll just do a little webcam test so you can get an example of the mics and the webcam quality. All right, so here is the built-in webcam with the internal microphones of the Yoga Pro 9i. And this is okay lighting. I'm going to turn on a little light here so you can see what something a little bit better would look like too. Like I mentioned, it does have a physical switch, so if I turn that off right now, it should cut the video. You can see it's doing so at the hardware level, and then if I switch it back, it'll come right back on. It's a really great overall laptop, and it has been my daily driver. I throw it in my bag all the time, and when I'm on the go and I'm mobily editing, this has been my product of choice because it's sleek, doesn't look like a gaming PC, but has that punch and that power. If you want to see the previous version I reviewed, you can check that here. Or I'll be reviewing the framework soon, the framework 16 that I have, so I'll put that here when it's done. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.